All right, traders, welcome to today's recap. This is Christian from Tribeca Trade Group, and it is Wednesday, September 25th. So feel like today was like a reversal of a reversal of a reversal. But I don't know. I think that depends on what stocks you're looking at. But, all in all, kind of a nice rebound day. We'll go through some sectors. We'll talk about some of what we traded today and some of the trades that we just kind of spotted and nice movers today. But for the day, SPY finished up 60 basis points. Remember, we started in the red this morning. The Qs finished up some real nice outperformance here. I might as well just bring up my spreadsheet. The Qs finished up 1.12%. But again, all this price action coming, through the session, which we really haven't seen a lot of, right? Where we see just basically a trending day to the upside. Those days have really been few and far between. Small caps also gave a nice indicator for the day. They had some strength kind of without early in the morning. They did finish up over 1% as well. And then really here also kind of gave a little bit of a tell this morning. Bonds were weak all session long, really kind of off the bat. And, after some of the impeachment stuff, that headlines, again, a lot of headline stuff going on. Gold and silver, right? These were really strong so far this week. And look at silver, for example, falling 4.2%. Let's just look at a couple of these charts. Just very briefly, where are we on S&P futures? We cut about halfway through yesterday's red candle. How I kind of played this today was, for trades, I have really kind of dialed down my trading a little bit because I think, trying to predict what this market is going to do day by day is really difficult to do. I think if you can kind of come into the day a little bit clean in positions, or if you held some positions overnight, you get out of them in the beginning of the day. But bottom line, I think just being a little bit more nimble and having less positions on right now kind of allows you to adjust to this market and maybe even play it both sides as well. I went long SPYs because I just really didn't have conviction, other than I just wanted to buy the dip a little bit in something yesterday, even though I thought we could go a little bit lower. But 5-minute bar, I basically took some profits on this trade as we went through value. There's my target and SPYs from yesterday. I even went out to January, just thinking that we may go lower, and I wanted to have some time on this. But again, move all the way through, fail breakdown on the 5-minute bar. I'm going to say this a couple times, but the value areas really gave some great signals, to kind of weed through the headlines. So the market webs that we use in the room. So here's where we are. I thought it was possible that we could go down here and visit 29.44 and even 29.40. But again, crystal ball, not exactly, perfectly clear. So again, it's just very difficult to kind of say, hey, this is the level that we're going to definitely go to. You can kind of think about things in probabilities too. And I thought maybe there was about a 65%, 70% chance that we would get down there. We didn't, and had a couple trades on. And then once we saw some momentum coming into the market and some call action, it looked like we were going to have a nice day, which is what we did. IWM, you could see still below value. Again, mentioned the outperformance. Not a bullish engulfing. I do see a lot of bullish engulfing candles today. I'll just go through a couple of those. Google, I have no position in Google, but look at that nice bullish engulfing candle. Then if you step away from tech, even the regional banks, well, I guess that's not perfectly bullish engulfing, but a nice move higher off of that red candle. And after several days of kind of digestion from this move. What else do I have written down? Shop. What a nice signal this was. And again, really nice, show you just very easy signals that we use today in the room. But Shop, nice bullish engulfing candle there as well. But if you go to the 5-minute bar, what we talked about was this nice move that happened, from the lows right around, 10 o'clock this morning. And we did a whole bunch of trying to break out we did break out, and basically what I said is where we could get to is this 317. I think we kind of stopped here, which is the bottom of yesterday's value area, but very close to this virgin point of control that we have here. So, again, a great way to kind of use this and say, hey, where do I think that this can get? That's the 1 hour, which again, 320 is your resistance. Also, we took out a downside virgin point of control in shop, but again, we were all over this one today. 318 again is that VPOC up there, or 317 ish. But yeah, here was your test and so forth. I played Twilio today. The CEO is on Kramer tonight, but this gave a little, similar type of inside value, breakout of value, retest. So we'll see if this has more to go for tomorrow. Just looking at the 1 hour can give you some nice upside resistance too. We're now back in value for the week. So we'll see if Twilio can do a little bit more to the upside. So a little bit, again, looking at a little bit more growth names this morning. What else performed well? Steel names, very strong today. The semiconductors, we did see some call activity. LSCC, which is a name that had really good earnings, looked great on the charts. And this is what I like. Sometimes I talk about where I think there's better quality option activity versus not so great. Sometimes being not so great, like after a group of stocks or a name has run decently, and then we see call activity after already a decent move. But this, I think, was pretty good. When you've got support, when a name is right into some support, 50-day moving average, bottom of value, and I put this chart out earlier when the call started to kind of flow in to LSCC. But even if you're not relying on option activity, semiconductors, you could have basically picked any one of these. So again, you don't really need to concentrate on option activity if it's not something that you're doing already. NVIDIA gave a real nice look too. Also bullish engulfing off of this one, right? So I would be looking at a VPOC up here at 189, really strong in this one. Also sticking with a couple other signals that we saw. ServiceNow, a name that we've seen chunky call activity a couple times. We've actually seen some put activity. It has not worked as of yet. This is all after they've reported earnings, but you could see the open interest on this trade in ServiceNow. There's 7,000 of these where they've added a couple times to. Again, not a cheap trade to deal with, and kind of a tough looking chart as well, because it's still very much in this range, and you got to get above the 50-day moving average as well as top of value. But if you wanted it for a day trade today, it certainly worked very well. All right, a couple other sectors and things to note for the day. Home builders also did pretty well today. They finished up 1.2%. KBH just reported earnings. But yeah, I think I already mentioned the regional banks strong. The Chinese internets were strong. Of the FANG stocks, Google, Netflix, which I think was due. We looked at Netflix yesterday. I just thought the calls were too expensive. Shame on me for not putting on maybe a small trade, because it did look pretty good. It was setting up pretty good for a bounce today. This group, actually Square had a nice day. PayPal did decently. Roku bounced back a bit, up 2.7% for the day. All right, so I think we covered that. Also, another trade that another chart that I think looks pretty good is ATVI. This is also if we zooming out, I think looks pretty good. Long base, broke out of the base, kind of put in a little bit of a flag, and now found support right at the 20-day moving average. So one of my favorite setups for the day. All right, so that's it. We'll leave it short video. But again, I think right now being really nimble in this market, especially with options, because the way that this market has been going, kind of herky jerky. I think it really pays to be nimble and do a little bit of homework. I think also just leaving the video on with a positive. I think a couple days ago, looking at charts, I think they looked pretty ugly. Especially on the growth end of the spectrum. But again, just as what we've been talking about for the last couple of days, just give it a little bit of time. because all it takes is something like this, a nice reversal day, and then all of a sudden all these signals start to pop out. So if you find that you're, over a couple days where you're just not seeing really good signals, just give it a little bit of time. Part of doing very well trading is to not be in this market like every single day, and to kind of give it a breather. When it's not working well, and when you're not seeing great price action, which is certainly has been an issue over the last week or so. All right, guys, have a great night. See you tomorrow.